Hey guys, this is Jacolia of Jacolia GMs. Thank you for once again coming back home, family. For those of you that happen to be new here, welcome. I definitely hope that you hear something today that will persuade you to stay. If you happen to be here for the very first time, please hit the subscribe button, like the video, comment down below. If you are repeating, you have not already subscribed, exactly what are you waiting for? Come on now. So y'all, let's get into this story time educational video. You know me, I'm going to loop around because I got ADHD, but also because there's a lot of information in my head, right? And I'm going to make this, as usual, very spiritual. So this video will be about love spells, spirit husbands, and spirit wives. And this is not the only video I'm going to make about this. So I have talked about my ex before, and hey boo, I know you're probably watching. Shout out to his girlfriend. Hey Alicia. We're just gonna talk about what it is, right? When people crazy, they crazy. So, in the Apostolic Pentecostal Church, having dreams of being married, getting prophesied to about being married, a man coming into the church, or you seeking the Most High for certain attributes, all of these things are normal. All of these things are normal. When we begin to look over into the book of Genesis, the first chapter, it reveals to us that total voodoo happened, utter chaos, utter destruction. There is a destruction and upheaval of the world that was before the world that we know. The book of Ecclesiastes begins to talk to us, telling us that there are worlds that existed that we know not of. So to even count Genesis 1 and 1 as the beginning of time is an erroneous doctrine. To even try to age the earth and this current civilization is anywhere to 6,000 years is erroneous as well. You have civilizations that's going all the way back to 12,000 BCE. Like, come on, you guys. So when we begin to look into the water kingdom, and I know some of y'all gonna be like, the water kingdom, that sounds like, let's just listen and talk about the Bible for what it is. When you begin to look over into Sumer, into Mesopotamia, where the biblical narrative takes place in the Levant, and the Levant is inclusive of what formerly was called West Africa. West Africa was formerly Chad, Nigeria, Mauritania, Morocco, the Sahel, Libya, the Sudan. The coastal regions were not inhabited. That was considered Canaan, and it was inhabited by giants. Not only does the Bible say this, but the Akan over in Ghana say this till this day, and I'm going to source my homie Jesse, as always, who is currently in Ghana. This is their oral tradition. This is what the Bible teaches. This is what it is, right? So when you begin to talk about the cultures that's in these people groups, when you go over to Mesopotamia, they have fish deities. Dagon, he is worshipped in the Bible by, I believe, the Philistines. We'll get it right when I quote some scriptures. You have Enki, actually Enlil, because Enlil is the god that stayed in the heavens with their father Anu, and Enki stayed on the earth with their mother Ki to create man and woman in the garden. That's what they teach. When you look over in West Africa, you have Mommy Water, you have Yamaya. Even in the Celtic and the German and so on and so forth, you always see these mermaids, these mermen, these nymphs. And you hear about the kingdoms under the earth. The book of Revelation begins to say that the sea will give up the dead. You hear stories in West Africa. See, things in the Americas don't click, and it's because Americans are further removed from their culture than anybody else, because most Americans are native to America, mixed in with some European blood that you believe are white people. These were the Israelites pushed into Europe during these different captivities. 722 BC during the Assyrian captivity. Like, these are swarthy European. These are your Moors, your Israelites coming over into the Americas as swarthy. Swarthy literally means burnt, black, brown, dark Europeans. So Americans, Black Americans have been reclassified to Afro-American. And of course, you had some free Africans that was coming over here and some enslaved Africans. Over 90% of enslaved and free Africans were going into the Caribbean. Even the ones that was coming over from the UK and Europe and stuff. That's why the Jamaicans, like a lot of them know that they are Igbo. A lot of them know that they are Khan as well. Just like the Haitians in Creole, they say that they are Igbo in Creole. So they know about these water spirits and these water deities, and that's why the people who venerate the Orishas and Iwas in Haiti and Dominica and Brazil and, all of those other places, West Africa, so on and so forth, a lot of times they live in different parts of the city or they practice in private. A great majority of West Africans are Christianized. A great majority of, whether they are Hispanic or Afro-Israelites, they are Catholicized. So they are still battling with their own form of paganism, while the other ones are ancestral worship, not realizing that it's one and the same. Then you have some who still realize who they are, but in these cultures, great majority of the people don't mess with these spirits. And when they have dreams, they take them serious. I grew up being raised by Southern people. And when we would dream of fish, the grandmothers would always say, I dreamt of fish. Somebody is pregnant. That's your culture letting you know that fish is the symbol of fertility. That's a fertility deity. So when you make oaths and covenants and you have dreams of having sex and you have dreams of getting proposed to and you have dreams of being married in your dreams, these are not always things from the Most High. I have to read the book of Tobit and Judith and some other things before I put a stamp on it. Husbands and wives were identified while people was wide awake. And I'm somebody that dreams. I dream vividly. I'm not even going to go into depth about how vivid I dream. I realize that the dream world is the spirit world, and a lot of us have oaths and covenants in the spirit realm, and that has impacted our life on today. So when me and my ex, we started hanging out, we started kicking it just as homies, because both of us had a list of things about one another that we would not date. His list didn't really make sense because it contradicted everything that he was, which really was laughable for me. But it didn't matter to me because, like, I wasn't shooting for him. I don't shoot for dudes anyway. But like, I wasn't looking at him like that. I was still a Christian in Apostolic Pentecostal Church, and my studying shifted drastically. And with my study shifting drastically, he was the only person that I knew personally, or socially, I'm gonna say, because we went to high school together. He was my daughter's gym teacher in 3rd grade, who I knew socially, who knew about the Bible from a Hebraic culture, because I would see his post on Instagram, on Facebook, and I knew that he was smart because we went to high school together and we went to a selective enrollment high school, and I would see how he would decipher scripture. So I reached out to him and I asked him, I'm like, yo, can we get a coffee? Because I have some Bible questions. And he's like, I'll drink coffee, woo, but you come over my uncle's house, this, that, another. So I'm like, okay, cool. End up kicking it, we're out the band, right? So throughout this whole time, I don't want him. We're not talking, we're not kicking it, we're not doing anything. And this is also a problem. When you begin to tell women in the church, or just women, period, that you're hanging out with a guy that you have no interest in, they will push you to be with that person. They will prophesy witchcraft and marriage over your life out of their spirit of desperation for you to be with somebody. Out of their spirit of desperation, because that's what they desire for themselves. And I have met, oh my God. So someone began to ask this man his interest in me and all this other stuff. Man, we're not even talking. We're not even talking. Be careful who you allow to have influence and conversations with. And you can love the person. You just have to, if you know, because I knew that this is not somebody that I wanted to be with. And if I would have listened to myself versus listening to the seeds that was being planted. So we're going to continue, right? So, thank you, baby. So, after a while, he starts calling me over more. We spending more time together. You know, I'm really not thinking nothing of it. And then, one time before I went over there, I had a dream. And it kind of freaked me out because I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I had a dream that we was in like this gymnasium with a whole bunch of chairs, wood floors, clearly because it's a gymnasium. And we had just had church service. And I met his family. And mind you, I don't know this part of his family. I ain't never seen this before. I met his family and he proposed to me in that dream. He was talking to me about, you know, we came together and you opened my eyes to some things concerning the Most High, just like I did yours, and woo, woo, woo. So I wake up from the dream and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I'm like, whoa. Now, me knowing that the gift and the anointing and the calling that I have on my life would 95% of the time lead me to be with the man that's going to be a teacher of his word. My ex-fiance, who's the pastor of my parents' church, he pastors with my father now. I mean, you clearly see what his path is, and we were going to get married. And y'all see the in-depth knowledge that I have. So, you know, iron sharpens iron. So I'm sitting back and I'm thinking about this dream, like, what the heck is this? Like, why would I dream this? And I know I don't want this man. Being as prophetic as I am, it confused me. And I did not watch over it in prayer. And that's error on my part. I ignored myself and what I wanted initially, right? So me and him ended up getting into a relationship we was friends literally from December to April. April, he macked down on me a little bit. By June, I disappeared. I should have stayed gone because the red flags was just entirely too much. But I couldn't, I don't know. I couldn't break. And I'm not even going to say I don't know why now, because I know why now. I couldn't break. And this was before the trauma bond was even impacted, right? So then we kicking it and we talking from like June literally to September. And so now that we like actually talking, because to me, like, you macking down on me in April and May, that didn't mean nothing. Like, it didn't mean anything. And he knew that. So like late July to September, we kicking it and we're talking and we getting to know each other. And I tell him, I'm like, you know, you're going to need to let me know what you want to do because I can hold space for you. We can just be cool though. Like, ain't no pressure. We can just keep it cool. You know, because when guys start to do certain things and y'all start to do certain things, a man will keep you in that space, and it's up to you to draw boundaries and be like, nah, you know what, we can just be cool. And this isn't me seeking anything. Like, I let him know, like, trust me, I'm Gucci. And he knew what I had in the tuck. He knew, like, he knew what I had in the tuck, and I'm just like, I'm good. So he was like, no, I want to be with you. And I said, you know, are you sure you ready to be with me and only me? And he said, yeah. And I said, are you sure? He was like, yeah, let me take care of something. I know it's because he was talking to somebody else. I do what you got to do. So throughout the relationship, y'all know it went up and down, woo, off the bam, and I'm trying to leave. And I'm like, this is more than a trauma bond. Like, this is demonic. Like, I'm waking up, screaming out of my sleep. Can't go to sleep unless I'm listening to worship music. Like, I'm having to pray myself to sleep. I'm just like, what is going on? So I had told him about my dream in like December because he said something identical in person that he said to me in the dream. And I was like, woo. So I told him about the dream. And he was like, I know. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm thinking, he prophetic, whatever. But whole time. So I had broke up with him. And I'll never forget when I broke up with him. I'm driving on the west side of Chicago. I'm not even going to say where I was driving at, but I'm driving down the west side of Chicago. And I'm on the phone with him. He's just being crazy. And, like, at this point, I'm laughing and I'm being stupid because I'm, like, not caring. But, you know, I still care because I love him, but, like, I really don't care. He said to me, do you really think that I'm going to let you leave me? You done made me fall in love with you. Made my kids fall in love with you. He said the curse, you know the dream that you had. The curse is set. The fates are sealed. You not going anywhere. You belong to me. And I said, nigga, you cursing me? That's where we at? Okay. And I already felt this because I was trying to need to, like, really pray and go into spiritual warfare before going to his house. And it's like, why? Because you become complicit. You lay down with people. You enter into their altars and their sacrifices, and you become one with their gods and one with their deities, and you need to be purged and purified. And, like, we have to really realize the depth of these things. So when we break up, like, finally break up, and, you know, he doing narcissistic triangulation, and that's just not a term that I use haphazardly. I'm a psych major. And he ended up talking to this little girl, and this little girl ended up contacting me, reaching out to me because she told me that she begged him, that she told him, because me and him be texting, right? And that she asked him to delete my number and to block me, and he told her no. And she was like, it's either me or her. And he was like, you know what? I don't want to be with you no more. And he kicked her out and was sending her back home. She lived in another city, another state. Little girl, right? Which is like, So she tells me, and I'm not lying at all. I had a text message and everything, but I'm not, you know. She tells me, we talking on Facebook. She tells me that she got down on her hands and her knees, no exaggeration, and begged this man to stop talking to me. And he told her, I will never stop talking to Tiara for you or for nobody else. So if you can't handle it, we just not going to be together. The child told me, she said, he was teaching me how to work with stones and crystals, and we did something with your name. And I said, thanks for confirming and letting me know. That's not the only thing that happened in this relationship, but I want to let y'all know, don't ignore what the Holy Spirit tell you. And if you've given into things like this, you've become a witch against yourself. We need to be purged. We need to be purified. And this is why some of us are single. To cut soul ties in the spirit realm, so that our marriages won't be impacted by lying and cheating and outside babies and down low and, you know, all of these different things. This is Jacolia, Jacolia Gems, food for thought.